Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's study. And we're going to continue looking at the chronology of the kings of Judah and Israel, and of course, the stories as well. But before we do that, let's have a word of prayer. Dear Father in heaven, we are thankful for this morning and for each person that is here and your presence that comes through your word. We ask that your Holy Spirit can help us to understand these things that we study. We know, Lord, we have limited understanding and we are dependent upon you. And so we invite your Spirit into our hearts and lives, that you can give us a message that we can share with others, that we can live out. Thank you for each person who watches these videos. I pray that you can bless them. And we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I did send out a document. And I think when you come on after I put something in the chat, I don't think you see it. So, right? Does anybody see the document in the chat? I put it there as a PDF. I sent it out as a Word document. So I'm just going to share that again.
Yeah, correct. It doesn't show up when we come in after you do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So anyway, I'm just putting it in there. So that document, which is now I sent it in the email in Word, and the nice thing about Word is you can just easily separate out the different images and put them in different documents if you want. I could have put them in two different documents, but yeah. So it's going to look like this as soon as it shows up. So it's got the chronology there of the kings of Judah and Israel in the column, and then it has the line. Now we have got to Jeroboam II and Azariah, who's also Uzziah. So we're getting into this history here. And we had noted yesterday, just zoom in. How do I do this? That works pretty good. And it's not as clear as it's getting clearer. I see it just clarifies it later. It's still a little grainy. But yeah, Azariah is the other name of Uzziah. So we're going to be dealing with that 12-year regents, where he's under regents. And so some of this is in tabled history, which is useful. I'll switch back to the Bible here and try to figure out why tabled history is not there. Okay, so we got Azariah reigns in Judah. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was when he began to reign. And he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jecholiah of Jerusalem. So we was at the end of the study. Stephen noted that he's not 16 when the count of his reign begins. And I'm still trying to open this here. So we'll just read a bit more. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. And the people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. And the Lord smote the king so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. So then we're going to it's just going to move on to Zachariah in Israel. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zachariah, the son of Jeroboam, reign over Israel and Samaria 6 months. So we're going to get to that. So the story of Uzziah isn't told in 2 Kings. We have the fact that he's, there, but they call him Azariah. We find out that his name is also, and he's going to be, which chapter here? Joash repairs the temple. Uzziah, there. So all the people of Judah took Uzziah when he was 16 years old and made him king in the room of his father Amaziah. Okay, so that's chapter 26. There's chapter 25 dealing with Amaziah. and Israel defeats Amaziah. So there's some details in Second Chronicles that we don't have in Second Kings. Now remember, it was interesting when we got to Omri that Omri's mentioned in Second Kings, but he's not mentioned in Chronicles at all, which is interesting. They just skip him. So we need Chronicles and Kings to sort of supplement each other. Now here again, they're going to call him Amaziah, or not, pardon me. This is Amaziah. When we get to Uzziah, he's not going to be called Azariah. He's going to be called Uzziah. And but we have Amaziah here, which is his father. And in the chart that we had Amaziah's going to begin his reign in the time of Joash, king of Israel, in the second year of Joash. So we have Joash, king of Israel, and Joash, king of Judah. They have a reign that overlaps by 2 years, but we have this odd count. So we're going to come back to some of this details and try to work them out. But right now we want to deal with. I'm going to read this about Amaziah in Second Chronicles. So Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jehoiada of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but not with the perfect heart. Not particularly certain. Angela brought up yesterday just that she found this interesting, not with the perfect heart. The word here, perfect, means it's actually shalom, which is related to the word shalom, right? Which is peaceable, just like Solomon, Shlomo, which is means peaceable. So here, this is, what that exactly would mean, what it means, but not with a perfect heart. Is there some kind of conflict in his heart? Maybe, I don't know. It came to pass when the kingdom was established to him that he slew the servants that had killed the king his father, and he slew not their children, but did as the law of Moses, did as it is written in the law of the book of Moses, where the Lord commanded, saying, the father shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers, but every man shall die for his own sin. So we had read that in 2 Kings as well. Moreover, Amaziah gathered Judah together and made them captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And he numbered them from 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men, able to go forth to war, that could handle the spear and shield. And he hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. So he's going to get some people from northern Israel as well. He's going to have some mercenary soldiers, I guess. But there came a man of God to him, saying, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for the Lord is not with Israel, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim. But if thou wilt go, do it. Be strong for the battle. God shall make thee fall before the enemy, for God hath power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said to the man of God, But what shall we do for the 100 talents which I have given to the army of Israel? And the man of God answered, The Lord is able to give thee much more than this. Then Amaziah separated them, to wit, the army that was come to him out of Ephraim, to go home again. Wherefore their anger was greatly kindled against Judah, and they returned home in great anger. And Amaziah strengthened himself, and led forth his people, and went to the valley of Salt, and smote the children of Seir 10,000, and other 10,000 left alive, did the children of Judah carry captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they were all broken in pieces. But the soldiers of the army which Amaziah sent back, that they should go with him to battle, fell upon the cities of Judah, from Samaria even unto Beth-horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoil. So that's an interesting story I'm not familiar with. Okay, now it came to pass after that Amaziah was come from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir, and set them up to be his gods, and bowed himself before them, and burned incense unto them. That seems rather irrational. Wherefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Amaziah, and he sent unto him a prophet, which said unto him, Why hast thou sought after the gods of the people, which could not deliver their own people out of thine hand? And it came to pass, as he talked with him, the king said unto him, Art thou made of the king's counsel? Forbear. Why shouldest thou be smitten? Then the prophet forbare, and said, I know that God hath determined to destroy thee, because thou hast done this, and hast not hearkened unto my counsel. Then Amaziah, the king of Judah, took advice, and sent to Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, Come, let us see one another in the face. Right? So this we had in the other story. So this battle where they're going to have this sort of civil war, that is in 2 Kings. Okay, and so so this is sometime before 823 and after 839. So in that period of time that they're both kings. And Joash, king of Israel, sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. Thou sayest, Lo, thou hast smitten the Edomites, and thine heart lifted thee up to boast. Abide now at home, and why shouldest thou meddle to thine hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even thou and Judah with thee? But Amaziah would not hear, for it came from God, that he might deliver them into the hand of their enemies, because they sought after the gods of Edom. So Joash the king of Israel went up, and they saw one another in the face, both he and Amaziah king of Judah, at Bethshemesh, which belongeth to Judah. So we had discussion about this yesterday. Bethshemesh, the house of the sun, maybe it has something to do with the Sunday law, but we don't know yet exactly how we're going to apply this. And Judah was put to the worst before Israel, and they fled every man to his tent. And Joash the king of Israel took Amaziah king of Judah, the son of Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, at Bethshemesh, and brought him to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim to the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and the silver and all the vessels that were found in the house of God with Obed-Edom, and the treasures of the king's house, and the hostages also, and returned to Samaria. And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, 15 years. So we've addressed that. Now the rest of the acts of Amaziah, first and last, behold, are not written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Now after the time that Amaziah did turn away from following the Lord, they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent to Lachish after him and slew him there. And they brought him upon the horses and buried him with his fathers in the city of Judah. Okay. So again, we're going to come back to some of these things. So there's lots of interesting details in these stories. Okay. Now when we get to Uzziah, and we're going to have to look at some of this detail. So we'll read through this and see what we see. And I'm also going to know what's going on with this computer. Okay. Then all the people of Judah took Uzziah, who was 16 years old, and made him king in the room of his father Amaziah. And he built Eloth. Eloth, what does that mean? Eloth. Trees or a grove, that is palms. A place on the Red Sea, or Elath it's sometimes called, and restored it to Judah after that the king slept with his fathers. 16 years old was Uzziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jecholiah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Amaziah did. And he sought God in the days of Zachariah, who had understanding in the visions of God. As long as he sought the Lord, God made him prosper. Okay, sorry about that. And he went forth and warred against the Philistines, and brake down the wall of Gath, and the wall of Jabneh, and the wall of Ashdod, and built cities about Ashdod and among the Philistines. And God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabians and against Gurbaal and the Mehunims, Mehunims, Menuni, Menuni, Menuni. Okay, so yeah, so they have it in. So the Mehuni, Meunims. Okay, that is inhabitant of Meon. What does it mean? We got Gerbal, just means habitations. Okay, and in this other place, Gerbal, Gerbal, however you want to say that, dwelling of Baal. Okay. And the Ammonites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad, even to the entering in of Egypt, for he strengthened himself exceedingly. Moreover, Uzziah built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate and at the valley gate and at the turning of the wall, and fortified them. That word turning probably means corner. Yeah. Also, he built towers in the desert and digged many wells, for he had much cattle, both in the low country and in the plains. Husbandmen also and vine dressers in the mountains and in Carmel, for he loved husbandry. Moreover, Uzziah had an host of fighting men, and he went out to war by bands, according to the number of their account, by the hand of Jeiel, the scribe of Maaseiah, the ruler, under the hand of Hananiah, one of the king's captains. And the whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600. And under their hand was an army 300,000 and 7,500 that made war with mighty power to help the king against the enemy. And Uzziah prepared for them throughout all the hosts shields and spears and helmets, and I'd never know how to say that word, habergeons. There's probably some way to pronounce it. And bows and slings to cast stones. And he made in Jerusalem engines invented by cunning men to be on the towers and upon the bulwarks to shoot arrows, and great stones withal. And his name spread far abroad, for he was marvelously helped till he was strong. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction. For he transgressed against the Lord his God, and went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense upon the altar of incense. And Azariah the priest went in after him, and with him 80 priests of the Lord that were valiant men. And they withstood Uzziah the king, and said unto him, It appertaineth not unto thee, Uzziah, to burn incense unto the Lord, but to the priests the sons of Aaron that are consecrated to burn incense. Go out of the sanctuary, for thou hast trespassed, neither shall it be for thine honor from the Lord God. Then Uzziah was wroth, and had a censer in his hand to burn incense. And while he was wroth with the priests, the leprosy even rose up in his forehead before the priests in the house of the Lord, from beside the incense altar. And Azariah the chief priest and all the priests looked upon him, and behold, he was leprous in his forehead. And they thrust him out from thence. Yea, himself hasted also to go out, because the Lord had smitten him. And Uzziah the king was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house, being a leper, for he was cut off from the Lord, from the house of the Lord. And Jotham his son was over the king's house, judging the people of the land. Now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, first and last, did Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, write. So Uzziah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the field of the burial which belonged to the kings, for they said, He is a leper. And Jotham his son reigned in his stead. Okay, so we're going to get to Jotham now, but so I have this strange thing where somehow I can't, this is weird. What is this doing? Maybe this is going to work. But yeah, I can't open it in this file. At least it's not opening. Okay, so we know that he's going to talk about Uzziah in the book of Isaiah. And So we have Isaiah mentioned, or Uzziah mentioned in Isaiah in chapter 1 and in chapter 6. But it says, now the rest of the acts of Uzziah, first and last, did Isaiah the prophet write, the son of Amos write. So it says most critics regard Isaiah as about 20 when Uzziah died. He must then have written his history of Uzziah's reign from documents and accounts of others rather than from his own knowledge. Well, I'm not sure what they mean by that. I mean, obviously he has some account because he's pretty young when Uzziah died, so he's not alive during his own reign, his whole reign. Okay, so we're going to deal with this here. I finally got it opened. I don't know what my computer was doing. And we'll come back to that. So Uzziah is going to be 4 when Amaziah dies. And so we have footnote number 273. That's going to talk about this. Amos began to prophesy when Uzziah and Jeroboam were reigning at the same time. And this was 2 years prior to a notable earthquake. See Amos 1:1. Zachariah also mentions the earthquake with it typifying an end time context. Okay, so that's not okay. Let's go here. So just sorry about the computer problems. This should open up there. Okay, so the dating issue: 12 years from the death of Amaziah to when his son Azariah, Uzziah, began to reign. So Joash was over Israel. He reigned 16 years. Jehoash, that's the king of Israel, right? In the 15th year of Amaziah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, reigned 41 years. And so we got the 41 years there. So Amaziah lived after the death of Jehoash, king of Israel, 15 years. And then it says in the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years. So that was in 2 Kings 15, verse 1-2. So we have here Jehoash in the 15th year of Amaziah, Jeroboam. So we've got Jeroboam the second. He's going to begin to reign. There is that 15 years. And then it says in the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign, being 16 at that time. So if that is the case, we can see we take the 12 years and the 15 years gives you the 27 years, right? Is that clear? So we got 15 years here. We got 12 years here. These two start at the same time. So we're going to have the 27th year of Jeroboam II when he's 16 years old. Now, why do they write it that way? Like, why wouldn't they say he began to reign when he was 4, but he reigned under regents, but they don't tell you that. So what have we decided about how the Bible writers write? Why would they not tell you that detail? Why would they say he's 16 years old and he reigns for 52 years when they're actually going to count the 52 years from when he's 4, not from when he's 16? Think about that question. Now I'm going to just read this here. So it says, seeking to remedy the 12-year gap, James Ussher states that Jeroboam II seems to have been made viceroy of the kingdom by his father Joash. To this assumed event, he assigns the date 836 BC. This is 3 years into the father's 16-year reign, which began in 839 BC. Hence, we may gather that Azariah, Uzziah, king of Judah, began his reign in the 27th year of Jeroboam. So this is dealing with Jeroboam's reign and Jehoash's reign in Israel. Ussher still begins the 41 years of Jeroboam's reign when his father died, but with his prior assumed period as a viceroy, Jeroboam could be considered to have reigned a total of 52 years. An alternative solution is that Azariah was but 4 years old when his father Amaziah died, and that the first 12 years of his 52-year reign was under regents due to his young age. Then, when he was 16 years old, he was given the responsibility of kingship. This is the understanding adopted in this document. So there are two different solutions. So one has to do with how we determine the reign of Jeroboam II, right? Because he reigns 41 years. So in this case, it doesn't end up changing our solution as far as the length of the reigns of the kings of Judah. So we still end up with the same span of time. But in either case, it's not explicit in the text, right? So it's not going to tell you this detail. But we see that the problem exists. That is, it doesn't add up. One way or the other, you would have to solve this problem. Now, the position that I took was the regents, right? The 12 years. Now, I asked the question, why would the Bible do it this way? We have some similar situations that we've run into before. So what's the answer? Why does the Bible not tell us some details that would have been helpful? When we look at this chart, so I have here, we're gonna have let's just look at this a little bit more. So we know that there is Jeroboam. He's going to begin to reign in the 15th year of, what's his guy's name again? Amaziah, right? So he's going to begin, and that we know that there's 15 years that as Amaziah continues to reign after Jeroboam II reigns. Now, that's an inclusive count because he reigns 29 years. But with the way that they're counting it, that there's with no zero in a sense, it's just an inclusive count. You can see, and I do this in music, like, I don't know, maybe bringing up musical terms, but in music they talk about a interval, and an interval is like a major third. A major third is 4 semitones. And then if you add an octave, which is 8 notes above that note. So if you went from C to E, that would be a major third, and E to C, or E to E, would be an octave. So you have C to E and E to E. If you have those two intervals and you add them together, a third plus an 8 equals how much? How much does 3 plus 8 equal? We would think it would add up to 11, but it's actually a tenth, right? Because we're using an inclusive count. So 15 plus 15, or a 15th plus a 15th, would be 29, right? Because you don't have a zero in an inclusive count. So that's why in the 15th year, and he reigns 15 years more, it ends up being 29. So it should be simple enough to understand. Now, we then have that Azariah begins, or Uzziah, when it says he's 16 years old, nearly 17, in the 27th year of Jeroboam II, right? But here we can see he actually begins to reign when he's 4 years old. So we count the period of his reign as 52 years, right? You can see that. So that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that we understand how long, what's the guy's name again? Amaziah? Yeah, Amaziah, right? We understand that he reigns for 29 years. In the 15th year of his reign, Jeroboam II begins to reign. And then we know that he continues to reign for 15 years, that is, Amaziah does. So Uzziah, he's now 4 years old when his dad dies, because he doesn't begin to reign until the 27th year of Jeroboam II, right? So that says he's 16 years old in the 27th year of Jeroboam II. Now, the other solution is to make this the 27th year of Jeroboam II and have Uzziah to be 16 here, right? But then that makes this the 27th year. So it would change the counts of the kings of Israel. But then it would mean that he reigned not 41 years, but 52 years, Jeroboam II. But we know that it says that Jeroboam II reigned 41 years. So in just dealing with Jeroboam II again, 2 Kings 14:23. Right. So I think that's the best solution. I don't think Usher's solution is the best. Because in the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria and reigned 41 years. So to have him reigning another 11 or 12 years doesn't really make sense. Okay? So that's why we have this solution. So it doesn't end up changing the count of the kings of Judah, right? It ends up changing the count of the kings of Israel, and it changes how old Uzziah would be when he died. But this is the solution that I had. Stephen's adopted that solution. There's other people who have this solution as well. Is it clear enough to people? Do you understand it now? Or does somebody have questions? Okay. Now, as far as Isaiah is concerned, I'd like to look at what Isaiah says. Okay, so in Isaiah 1:1, the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. So we're going to have Isaiah prophesy in the times of Uzziah. Now, chapter 1 to 5 is his earlier prophecies. So Isaiah is going to be prophesying here, and he's going to be fairly young, right? Because he's going to have a long time he's going to be all the way to Hezekiah. So how long is Isaiah's ministry in the very least? It's at least how long? He's going to start prophesying in the time of Uzziah, somewhere around 780 BC. Let me see here, Uzziah. So it's going to be, so Jotham begins in what year here? So 758. So you got 758. Hezekiah is going to begin his reign in 727. So we don't know exactly where in Uzziah's reign, but at the very least, between 727 and 758 is 31 years. So at least 31 years, but it's longer than that, or 32 years, at the very least. Okay, and he's going to have these prophecies. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. So he's going to have these prophecies against, who's he primarily prophesying against? Because he's prophesying in a time when both the northern and southern kingdoms exist, right? But he's going to be mentioning the kings of Judah. So is his prophesying mostly with the kings of Judah? We would say yes, right? Remember in chapter 7, he's going to go to Ahaz. He's not prophesying to the king of Israel. Now, who's prophesying to the kings of Israel in this time? Who's the prophet that speaks to the kings of Israel? Because we got some different prophets in this period of time, not just kings. When is Hoshea prophesying? He's going to be in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, just as Isaiah is. But it also mentions Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. Okay? So we have Isaiah and Hosea both prophesying in the same period. Correct? Okay. Now then, but it mentions Jeroboam II here, right? Jeroboam, son of Joash. Now, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, you're going to have Zachariah, Shallum, Menahem, Bechiah, Pekah, and Hoshea, all in that period in the kingdom of northern Israel. So why is he just mentioning Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, even though he's prophesying during that whole time of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, as well as Uzziah? Now, does this put him earlier than Isaiah? Because Isaiah doesn't. So in mentioning Jeroboam, why would he mention Jeroboam here but not the other kings? Does this tell us that Hosea is prophesying? By putting Jeroboam in, you know that he's not just prophesying in the latter reign of Uzziah, but he's prophesying in the earlier reign of Uzziah, right? Hosea is prophesying for a long period of time. If Isaiah had given us the name of Jeroboam that he was prophesying, then he would be prophesying just as long as Hosea. Right? You understand the point? So I'll just show you here visually so you get the idea of when he's prophesying. So when we look at this chart here, we can see Uzziah is reigning for 52 years. Okay? Come on, change. There we go. Uzziah is reigning for 52 years. And it says that Hosea is prophesying in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. So that's this period of time. And with Isaiah, it says that he's prophesying in the time of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. But he doesn't mention any of the northern kings. So by mentioning Jeroboam II with Hosea, we know that he's beginning his prophesying early in the reign of Uzziah. With Isaiah, when do we generally have? So we know that he's prophesying in the time of Uzziah or Azariah, but he doesn't mention any of the kings of northern Israel, right? As far as that he's prophesying in those times. Now we know he's prophesying in the time of Jotham and Ahaz. And so when Jotham dies, we know that he's going to go to Ahaz and give a prophecy. But he doesn't go to Hoshea and here in this period, there's going to be an interregnum. He doesn't go to Pekah. He talks about Pekah, or he talks about the conspiracy between Samaria and Damascus, right? Between Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and what's his name? Rezin, the king of Damascus, right? So the head of Damascus is Rezin. The head of Samaria is Remaliah, the son of Pekah, right? Or Pekah, the son of Remaliah. So we got the son of Remaliah is the head, right? So that's how Isaiah addresses that in the first year of Ahaz. Now this history here is going to be very interesting when we get there, and it's not going to be too long. But we have all of these different kings in this period in northern Israel. But by going back to Jeroboam II, we can see that Hosea's prophesying for a long period of time. So at least from like 770, 780, all the way to sometime in Hezekiah's reign. Okay? Is that helpful? Are we starting to put this together? So Isaiah, we know that he's going to be fairly young when Uzziah dies, because that's at the beginning of his ministry. So it's in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah that he prophesies, but not in the days of Jeroboam II. So not as long as Hosea.
Since Pekah's the son of Remaliah, how come he's not on this chart?
Remaliah, because Pekah's a new dynasty, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So so Pekah's a new dynasty, even though we have a dynasty, some very short, Shallum is just 1 month, so I wouldn't call him a dynasty. But then we have Menahem, and then Pekahiah, and those are both, Pekahiah is the son of Menahem, but Pekah is not the descendant of Pekahiah. Pekah is the son of Remaliah, so he's a new dynasty, and he's going to be killed by Hoshea, right? So again, that's going to be another dynasty, right? Well, I call them dynasties, but they don't last long enough to be dynasties. So does that make sense? Now, why they call him the son of Remaliah instead of just Pekah is kind of interesting.
Maybe to distinguish him from Pekahiah because their names are similar.
Maybe that's part of it. But yeah, so in Isaiah 7, because we're not gonna study that whole thing again. But yeah, they always refer to him as the son of Remaliah, right? Rather than just saying Pekah. Okay. I think there's a reason for it. But it would take too long to explain. Okay. So going back to Isaiah, so we know when he's prophesying. So he's going to talk about Judah and Jerusalem. So you're going to see he's prophesying about Judah and Jerusalem. He's not prophesying about northern Israel. Like he's not talking to the king of northern Israel, the people of northern Israel. Again, chapter 3, judgment on Judah and Jerusalem. He's going to have this 7 women take hold of one man, saying, we will eat your own bread and wear your own apparel. Only let us be called by their name to take away our reproach. So again, this is about Jerusalem. Chapter 5, dealing with the vineyard of the Lord, it's Judah and Jerusalem. Then chapter 6, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Right. So this is his revelation of Christ, parallels John in John chapter 1 and Daniel in Daniel chapter 10. Okay, and then in chapter 7, Isaiah is sent to King Ahaz, right? So that's that prophecy of the 65 years, where for the head of Syria's Damascus, the head of Damascus is Rezin, and within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. The head of Ephraim is Samaria, and the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son, Pekah, right? If he will not believe, surely he shall not be established. And it says earlier, because Syria and Ephraim and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, right? So it's called the son of Remaliah. So when he's protected by Jehovah, father of King Pekah of the northern kingdom of Israel is all it says here, but you'll see when you look up the word Remaliah in all the places that it is, right? So you're going to have it in 2 Kings 15, Pekah the son of Remaliah. It's going to say in 2 Kings 15:25, Pekah the son of Remaliah, right? So they're going to mention his name, but Isaiah, he's going to call him Pekah in verse 1, Isaiah 7 verse 1, came to pass in the days of Ahaz the son of. So he's going to mention his name here, Pekah the son of Remaliah, but from then on he just calls him the son of Remaliah, right? So he's going to mention that he's Pekah here, but that's it. Don't think he mentions him again. If we look at Pekah, yeah, so the only time in Isaiah is chapter 7 verse 1. Other places he's going to be called Pekah the son of Remaliah. Okay, now what else when it comes to dealing with Uzziah? We have him mentioned there, but we don't have like a long history in the book of Isaiah about Uzziah, right? We just have that he's mentioned, that he's prophesied in the days of Uzziah. Is there another part where he deals with Uzziah? I'm just going to look this up here. Okay, we got Uzziah, he's mentioned in Kings, Chronicles. It's not showing here. Isaiah. Is there another form of his name? 5818. It's not showing the Isaiah references here. It's weird. I don't know why the concordance isn't showing that. So, history of Uzziah. So we're going to have him, as we noted, in 2 Chronicles 6:20 and 2 Chronicles 26. Okay, and he's mentioned in these other places. Why doesn't it show the Isaiah references? Strange. Okay, well, I'm going to have to figure that out, what's going on here. Okay, well, let's go back to, so we got this, his pride and punishment of Uzziah. Anything else about Uzziah? So we're now going to have Jotham as the next king of Judah. Okay, so I think we sorted out that problem, but we don't have anything beyond just the chronology to sort out. But we know whatever the solution is for the chronology, it still is correct, even if we took Usher's solution. But we have the regions. Then we have the fact that Uzziah or Azariah, we got some dealing with him. Now we have Jotham. So Jotham was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jerusha, the daughter of Zadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father Uzziah did. Howbeit he entered not into the temple of the Lord, and the people did yet corruptly. He built the high gate of the house of the Lord, and on the wall Ophel he built much. Moreover, he built cities in the mountains of Judah, and in the forests he built castles and towers. He fought also with the king of the Ammonites and prevailed against them, and the children of Ammon gave him the same year 100 talents of silver, and 10,000 measures of wheat, and 10,000 of barley. So much did the children of Ammon pay unto him, both the second year and the third. So Jotham became mighty because he prepared his ways before the Lord his God. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all his wars and his ways, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. He was 25 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. Jotham slept with his fathers. They buried him in the city of David, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. So in 2 Chronicles, that's what we have regarding Jotham. When we go back to 2 Kings, so it would be here, 15. So we had Uzziah reigning. Now it's going to go deal with the kings of Israel. So after Jeroboam II, in the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zachariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Israel and Samaria 6 months. Now, Zachariah is going to be the last of that line of Jehu, right? Because we had Jehu, Jehoahaz, Jehoash, or Joash, either one, Jeroboam II, and now Zechariah, and he's going to reign for 6 months. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. Now it's going to be in the 8th year of Uzziah, right, or Azariah, that he's going to begin to reign. So that's Uzziah, king of Judah, right? So he reigns for 6 months. And it says he was evil in the sight of the Lord, departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. So going back to the Jeroboam the son of Nebat, right? So that's and Jeroboam the son of Nebat. That is right. That's going to be in 1 Kings that we first run into him in the days of Solomon. So that's Jeroboam the first. So even though Zechariah is the son of Jeroboam II, they're going back to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. That is, so the sins of the Jeroboam the son of Nebat are always referring to what? When we talk about the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, that would be the 2 golden calves, right? So we run into that again. Now it says, and Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him and smote him before the people and slew him and reigned in his stead. So this is then not his son. This is Shallum. Lots of people have the name Shallum. It is one of the kings of Judah, his name initially. I always forget which one. But it means retribution. So the 3rd son of Josiah of Judah and subsequent king of Judah reigned for 3 months. So Shallum is taken captive to Egypt. Who is that? That's Jehoahaz, right? That's the Jehoahaz in Judah. He's the one who is the son of Josiah, who becomes king after Josiah dies, right? So his name is also Shallum, but that's a different Shallum, right? So here we have Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, smote him before the people, slew him, and reigned in his stead. And now the rest of the acts of Zachariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. So Zachariah is killed by Shallum, right? And this is the word of the Lord which he spake unto Jehu, saying, thy son shall sit on the throne of Israel unto the fourth generation. And so it came to pass. So when we deal with Jehu, we have Jehoahaz, Jehoash, Jeroboam II, and Zechariah. So those are 4 generations after Jehu that they sit upon the throne. Shallum then reigns in Israel. Now Shallum, the son of Jabesh, Jabesh is normally, I think of it as the city, but it means dry. So it's a town in the territory of Gilead, right? But he's also the name of the father of Shallum, the 15th king of northern Israel. So Shallum, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah. So we had in the 38th year of Azariah, right? It says, and it says in the 39th year. So we know that Zechariah reigned only 6 months. So if he began to reign in the 38th year of Uzziah, and then 6 months later, Shallum began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, what does that tell us?
That there's really not a period in between those 2 kings.
Yeah, so well, he's reigning 6 months, so he's starting in 1 year of, that is Zechariah, starting in 1 year of another king's reign, and he dies 6 months later in the next year of that king's reign, right? So it tells us that the reigns are overlapped, right? If their reigns were together, if they were the same years, then if he reigned for 6 months, I mean, we could say, I guess he died in, the next year of his own reign, supposedly, but that doesn't really make sense. It does show us that there's this overlap. And why is that? Okay, here we go. So the way that I've illustrated this in my diagrams, oops, there we go. So it's in 771. So we got Zachariah's reign, and this is interesting. So we're going to have Zachariah reigns. How does I do this here now? No, I think I did. So the 9 and 30th, I think I did something wrong. That's 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zachariah, the son of Jeroboam, reign over Israel and Samaria 6 months. Now I have him here in the 28th year. So what did I do different? Oh, okay. So 2 Kings 14, there's what's going on. Boy, all these things I did in the Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Israel, and Zechariah, his son, reigned in his stead. Now, there is actually an interregnum period. So here's the problem. If we look at the reign of Jeroboam II of Israel, he's going to reign 41 years. So that means he's actually going to die in the 28th year of Uzziah, right? So, and we're going to work through these things. We're going to look at ushers. We're going to look at what our solution was. But what we end up having someplace is a period of 11 years that has to be dealt with. Now, what we have is that Jeroboam II dies in the 27th or 28th year of Uzziah, but Zechariah does not reign until the 38th year of Uzziah. That is, there is 11 years in which there is no king in Israel after the death of Jeroboam II. Okay, so we're going to sort through this, hope maybe tomorrow. I'll try to get some of this stuff ready and look at this problem. Because it's going to say that it's in the 38th year of Uzziah that Zachariah begins to reign. So there's a period of time where there is no king in Israel. Now, Zechariah is the descendant of Jeroboam II. So why would there be 11 years that he's not king? What would have to happen that when Jeroboam II dies, that his son is not king, that there is no king? What would that mean? Because what do you need to be a king of Israel? And what's happening at this time that stops him from becoming king until 11 years after his dad dies?
Was there foreign conquest then?
Yes, that would be part of it. But in order to be king, he has to unite Israel under him, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So with the death of Jeroboam II, what I understand is during this period, we are starting to have Assyria coming in and disrupting the situation in northern Israel. So during this period of time, Zechariah is not able to establish himself as the king of Israel. Now, when he finally does, Shallum's going to come along, conspire against him, and kill him. And then he's going to reign for 1 month. So northern Israel begins this long period of instability. You get Shallum, then you get Menahem. Menahem's going to reign for 10 years or so, right? Then you get Pekahiah, right? And then Pekah. So Pekahiah reigns for quite a bit of time, 20, 21 years. And then Hoshea's going to, then Pekah's going to, where is it here? Did I do that right? No, maybe I got Pekah. Pekah's going to begin reigning at about just before Jotham. Okay, and so we had Pekahiah. Pekahiah's just 1-2 years. Then Pekah's a long period of time. Then Hoshea's going to kill Pekah. But after Hoshea kills Pekah, again, there's going to be a period of time that there is no king. So some people would argue, well, this is what basically Thiel does is he just gets rid of those periods where there's no king, right? So he uses that to cut out basically 20 years out of the kings of Judah by acting as if those things didn't occur, that there isn't this period where there's no king. But it becomes problematic because we're going to know that Pekah is going to kill, or that Hoshea is going to kill Pekah in the 20th year of Ahaz, and we're going to look at that puzzle. So we have a lot of puzzles here to put together, a lot of pieces that we have to fit together. And, I don't want just to give my conclusion. I really want people to work through this, and I have to figure out how we can do this, because originally this was a lot of work, right? Because one is I had no idea what I was doing when I started working through the kings of Judah and Israel. And there was, 1,000 different opinions on how to do some of these things. I read Albright and Thiel and Floyd Nolan Jones and all these different chronologists who all have different solutions. Usher, of course. And, doesn't mean my solutions are the best solutions, but the kings of Judah with the long chronology fits the best. It definitely doesn't do any injustice to the text, which Thiel's does. And most chronologists have some ways in which they try to manipulate the text itself, rather than just saying, maybe there's something we don't understand about this. The Bible doesn't tell us everything, but what it's telling us is correct when it says that a king begins to reign in the year of another king's reign. So those are things that we're going to have to sort out. Now, where this gets interesting, of course, is once you get Hoshea, we're going to have to deal with this whole history of the fall of Samaria, the end of northern Israel, and how to sort through what happens when Hoshea is taken captive, right? So I have here much more detailed, put the months and everything in this period of time, dealing with the lunar eclipse of Merodach Baladan in his accession year and in his first year. And of course, they're going to be the same as Sargon's, because when Shalmaneser V dies, the kingdom ends up being divided in that way. But we'll see that when we get there. Okay, so there's a lot of different details we're going to have to sort through, which I haven't looked at for a long time. Okay, now we went through Azariah's reign. So we got Menahem. So let's go back here. We'll just finish reading this here. So we have Shalom, then Menahem. Right. So Shalom, okay, go back here. So Shalom, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 9 and 30th year of Judah, or Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. Woo, a full month. Right, so that ends up being, so you get Zechariah finally unites Israel and becomes king of Israel for 6 months. And then you get Shalom. He overthrows him and he becomes king for 1 month. For Menahem, the son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah and came to Samaria and smote Shalom, the son of Jabesh, in Samaria, and slew him and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Shalom and his conspiracy, which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Then Menahem smote Tifsah and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up. Okay, that's not very nice. In the 9 and 30th year of Azariah, or Uzziah, king of Judah, began Menahem, the son of Gadi, to reign over Israel, and he reigned 10 years in Samaria. So after Shalom's very short reign, so you have the 6 months, the 1 month, and now you're going to have Menahem reigning for 10 years. Right? He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menahem, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? And Menahem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead. So there we got a 2-king dynasty, right? In the 5th year of Azariah, 15th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah the son of Menahem began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 2 years. So I said 15th, it's 50th, right? And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. So we had one beginning to reign in the 39th, and he's going to reign for 10 years, but his son is going to begin reigning in the 50th year. So why is that? What would that tell us? So we have Menahem, he's going to begin reigning in the 39th, but in the 50th year, Pekahiah is going to begin to reign. Because from the 39th to the 50th would be 11 years. Now, the people writing this are not making typos, right? They understand what they're doing, right? They're writing this. They understand that it's in the 39th year of a king's reign that somebody begins to reign, and he reigns for 10 years, and then in the 50th year, his son begins to reign. So again, this would tell us that these years of reign are overlapping, right? That's just basically, seems evident. So if you began to reign in the end of the 39th year of Uzziah or Azariah, and then you died in the at the beginning of the 50th year, then you would have reigned for 10 years. 10 years and a bit of time, right? Now, does that mean that the king of Israel died in the 10th year of his reign if he reigned 10 years? See, that's the other question, because we take the position that when they count, and see, somebody could say, well, they're doing an inclusive count, so wouldn't that be 9 years, right? So there's where we have these difficulties. How are they counting? And so we're going to have to go over this again in detail to try to understand this. Hopefully it's not too tedious. But in the 50th year of Azariah, so he's got 2 more years left to reign, that Pekah is going to begin to reign. And so 2 years after Pekah begins to reign, we're going to have Jotham. Now there's going to be we're going to have a Pekahiah. So Menahem, then we have Pekahiah. So Pekahiah begins to reign in the 50th year, and he just reigns. I'm trying to see what I've got here that doesn't make sense. Oh, then Pekah begins to reign. So he reigns for 2 years. So 15, yeah. So he reigns 2 years. Okay. He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So they still have the golden calves. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites. And he killed him and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah, and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. And then Pekah reigns in Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah, or Uzziah, king of Judah, Pekah the son of Remaliah began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 20 years. So this Pekah, the son of Remaliah, he's going to begin reigning at the time that Uzziah dies, right? So in that period of time. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Eon, how do you say that? Eon, yeah, Aeon, anyway, a ruin. Abel, Beth-Maachah, and Genoa, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, and all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. So you're going to have this captivity that occurs in the days of Pekah, king of Israel. So Pekah is the son of Remaliah. And Hosea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead, in the 20th year of Jotham, king of Uzziah. Now, Jotham only reigned 16 years. So we're going to look at that, how it's the 20th year of Jotham. He doesn't have a 20th year. And the rest of the acts of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel. Jotham reigns in Judah. In the 2nd year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, began Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusha, daughter of Zadok, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit, the high places were not removed, and the people sacrificed and burned incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of the Lord. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And in those days, the Lord began to send against Judah Rezin the king of Syria, and Pekah the son of Remaliah. And Jotham slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. So that's going to bring us to Isaiah chapter 7. So we have, there's a huge amount of work to do here. Hopefully you guys are up to it. But once we get this all sorted out, and there's lots that has to be sorted out, we should have a good picture of who these people are, when they reigned, who was prophesying. And I think once we get to the end of Northern Israel, we'll start to go back and look at Northern Israel in a bit more detail in these stories and try to see if there's some kind of line about Northern Israel. The one thing I would say is that with Northern Israel, what's happening here is connected to the 2520 for Northern Israel. So I think there's a lot that we will notice that we never noticed before. Any final thoughts before we close with prayer? Okay, let's pray. Dear Father in heaven, we are grateful for the time that we've had this morning, and we just ask for your continued help as we deal with this puzzle in which we know that there's much light. We ask that you can help us in our personal study and that you can correct any errors that we may have in how we're understanding your word. Bless each person. May your angels watch over them. Keep us safe and bring us together again to study your word according to thy will. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.